What's up, guys? Sean Tafoya here. We're hanging out with Kevin Beck of the men's soccer team, and today we'll be sitting down with superstar shortstop Jake Thurston from your Roadrunners baseball team. Jake, thanks so much for being with us. How's it going?
Going good. Thank you guys for having me.
Awesome. Glad to have you here, Jake. Thank you for joining us today. Let's pop right into it. It's your fourth year here at Metro State playing in the baseball team. You were starting shortstop from your sophomore year. What do you look to continue your success as you go into your senior year?
Just kind of do the same day-to-day things I've been doing since I was a freshman and since I was little, basically. Just work hard as much as I can every day to grind with my teammates and grow as one as a team. I mean, you kind of build off of each year and learn new experiences. So you kind of take those failures, is what we call them. They're learning experiences. So you try and make sure those are actual successes in the future. So.
All right, so we're all dying to know what sort of, pregame rituals that you have before every single game. I mean, baseball players are creatures of habit, and they're very superstitious as well.
I mean, so I wake up and try get a cup of coffee. Same ritual I do every day, I guess, but get a good breakfast in and then kind of head to the field. And then depending on how I do, the last time I try and listen to the same music I had success in that day before. Say I did good the day before, I try and listen to the same song over and over as I go to the field. If I don't do very good, then I'll change up the song. Then kind of just do the same warm-up, do batting practice, all the same ritual, and then kind of just go to the game and be ready to play.
Is there a particular genre or artist that you listen to?
Usually Jason Aldean or Eminem. I kind of switch from those two depending on which
That's very polarizing.
When the lights come on, everybody screaming, lighters in the sky. Yeah.
Hi, my name is what? My name is Ticket's name Sadie.
Let's talk about when you get up to bat. Is there any rhythm that you go to? Maybe stroke your ear 3 times or grab your right leg, something like that. Do you have any rhythm before you get into go hit a home run or something like that?
Honestly, yeah, it's kind of maybe I guess it'd be that intense. I kind of sit in the batter's box, kind of try and blank my mind completely of everything that's happened before, and I kind of just do breathing rituals. I breathe in like 6 seconds deep, then I hold for 2 seconds, and I breathe out for 6 seconds until I'm up to bat. And then I kind of tap my foot with the bat as I'm walking up to the plate and kind of get in and then kind of reset myself and kind of go from there.
All right, so you graduated in 2013, and what options did you have as far as your playing career in college, and why'd you choose MSU Denver?
So I first started out, MSU Denver was kind of one of the first colleges that looked at me. Coach Otis was one of the first coaches to show interest in me, and that kind of, first of all, it brought a lot of attention to Metro as being someone who really liked me because it was early on in my days of being recruited, and then a couple of JUCOs, a couple other Division IIs, but kind of from the start when I first met Coach Otis, I was like, this is the guy. He's the guy that wants me. He showed a lot of interest in me, and he's kind of straight to the point with what he wanted from me, and I felt this was the best fit, just being close to home. Having my parents there to watch me every day was a big thing for me. And that's probably what the main thing is why I chose Metro, is for that reason right there.
So what is your favorite part about playing for Coach Oates, or Otis, other people like to call him that?
Coach Oates. That's actually the first name I called him when I came on my recruiting trip. So, he's a good guy. I mean, he's straight to the point. He's very organized, and I like that about him. You know what you're going to do every day, and that's something that I like to know what I'm going to do. I don't like to be just caught with surprises at practice. But he's really black and white, and he's straight to the point, and that's my biggest thing. Is he'll tell you how it is. If it's brutally honest, he'll tell you. But if you're doing good, then he'll tell you that too. So it's kind of best of both worlds to me. So.
All right. So what baseball player did you or do you emulate, and how does that translate to your own game? You know, there's a lot of great shortstops out there, like Derek Jeter, for example.
I mean, when I started out, I was actually a second baseman. So.
Okay.
I mean, I love Jeter. Jeter is always going to be an idol to anyone who plays baseball. But honestly, probably Dustin Pedroia. I loved his size, his work ethic at that size, and he kind of showed everyone that size doesn't matter in baseball, and kind of try and emulate that. Because I'm not the biggest guy out there, but he works hard and he plays the game 110%. So that's why I try and follow his footsteps. I mean, it's kind of big footsteps to follow, but try my best at least.
All right, let's have some fun with it. If you weren't playing baseball, what sport would you be playing? Would it be swimming? Because I can see you as a swimmer.
A swimmer. No, I mean honestly, I don't know. I'm pretty good at golf. I could probably play golf. But I've always wanted to play football. I've stopped playing football when I was in like 7th grade. So I always wanted to kind of play high school football and see if that would have took me anywhere. But who knows? I mean, golf is a good spot for me, I think.
What position in football if you had to play?
I'd probably want to be like a slot wide receiver, something like that. I want to be on the offensive side.
All right, so let's get you to rag on some of your teammates here for just a minute. We'll do some superlatives, as you might want to call it, if you've seen Jimmy Fallon. So, out of all your teammates on this Roadrunners baseball team, who would be the best cook and who would be the worst, and why?
The best cook. Probably the best cook. I'd probably give that to Marcus. Marcus Bean. He cooks a lot of greasy foods, and that's what I like.
What kind of greasy foods?
I don't know. He always uses olive oil with everything he cooks, so everything has a lot of flavor to it, and he adds a lot of spices to it. I mean, he eats pretty well, as you can see. Probably the worst cook. I'd probably give that to Trent, just because Trent's real skinny. You can tell he doesn't eat very well. So I probably got to give that to Trent. So.
All right.
So during the soccer season, we always had this facial hair contest. If you had to choose, who would be the best and who would be the worst facial hair on your team?
The best facial hair, I probably got to give that to Derek Stimson. He's got a pretty good full beard. And worst facial hair, I mean, based on people who can't grow it, there's a lot of kids on our team that can't grow it yet. But probably the guys who can grow it, I probably got to give that to Nick McCaskey. He's got this nasty mustache that looks like he was 13 and grew it and put in some Just for Men and dyed it. So.
Does he use some Rogaine and everything?
He's got to. I mean, it's pretty bad. It's not enticing at all. That's for sure.
All right, so your ex-teammate Julian Garcia got drafted by the Phillies just this past offseason, and he was down playing some rookie ball in Single A. Also playing some rookie ball is a guy who's garnered a lot of attention, Tim Tebow. And I don't know about you, but if Julian Garcia were to have an at-bat where he pitched to Tim Tebow, what would be the outcome of that at-bat?
You got to give that to Julian. I've never seen a curveball like his, and I probably will never see another curveball like his. That thing was nasty. And I don't think if Tim Tebow saw that, he'd have a chance. And throwing heaven, I mean, he has been playing well. I guess he had a first home run in his first at bat.
Yeah.
But that wasn't against a guy like Julian, yeah. I don't think. So I mean, I'd probably give that to Julian for sure.
So would it be a strikeout, a flyout, ground out?
I mean, it depends. It's hard to strike guys out, but it's also hard to hit Julian. So I mean, Julian strikes a lot of guys out, so I'd probably give it a strikeout.
All right.
So with your uncle, him being a professional baseball player for a couple of years, who do you think would be most likely to succeed on your team to go, besides Julian, to go professional?
I mean, we've got a lot of good talent on our team, but I think from guys who have just kind of have it in the head mentally, I think Hunter Donaldson can succeed up there. He's got the talent, and I think he's got that kind of head on him where he won't let the bad times ride him out too much. And I think that's what really got to focus on when you're focusing on guys who can be at that next level, is the mental toughness side of it. So.
Yeah, the mental toughness does play a hard part in getting into professional league. You don't think you have the mental toughness?
I mean, I do. I mean, I was just kind of being humble, I guess. I was trying to be as humble as possible, but I mean, I hope I do. I mean, I'm trying. That's the ultimate goal. But, I mean, we'll just see what happens, I guess.
So think back to your entire life. If you could change any sports moment, whether it was a sports moment on you personally or maybe a professional team that you follow, what outcome would you change and why?
It's probably got to be, I mean, that's pretty easy. It's probably got to be the RMAC championship against Mesa 2 years ago. We had to be beaten twice by them, and they beat us twice, and they ended up actually walking off with a home run against us in the second game. So that's still, to the day, probably the hardest thing I've ever had to swallow. That's a tough one. I mean, I still think about it today. I can't get over it. I probably will never get over that one.
So when you play Mesa, do you kind of have a chip on your shoulder then because of that game?
It's always a chip on our shoulder. Mesa's pretty good. I mean, you can't not look at Mesa and think of, oh, it's going to be a tough game, because they're always tough. They're always ranked. But I mean, that adds a little extra flair to it, especially I mean, for the younger guys who don't get to experience that because they didn't experience that. I don't think they have as big of a chip as the older guys who got the chance to experience that. So.
All right, so me playing on the soccer team and Sean being a broadcaster, as we wrap this up, the last question, who do you think you could strike out first?
Well, I don't pitch, but, I mean, you are an athlete, but you do play soccer.
What do you got about the soccer players? Come on now.
I'd probably gotta strike Sean out. I'd probably strike him out. If I could.
All right, pick on the broadcast. Doesn't do anything. All right, so that's gonna do it here for us. Jake, thanks for taking the time to hang out with us today.
No problem. Thank you guys for having me.
Yeah, absolutely.